Welcome to the vlog, guys. So in this video I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes and just showing you what trades I'm going to be taking over the next few days if that happens so, and you know, just performance, thoughts, everything day to day pretty much. And on the whiteboard behind me you can probably see a little bit. I've been digging into some ASR over the past few days, probably leading up into a week or so, and it's been pretty interesting for me to look through the trades over the past 3 months, see commonalities, see common patterns. What am I doing well, what am I not doing so well, what's performing well, what's not performing so well, and just, I won't say tweak a few things, but just bring the awareness to certain areas and hold my attention there going forward. So it's going to be good. So I'm going to talk you through that over the next few hours or so. So I'm going to hit the gym now, bit of a break from the charts for a little bit, then I'm going to hit Starbucks for a little bit of a work session, and I'm going to bring you along with me. So without further ado, this camera's getting heavy. I'm going to speak to you soon, and let's get on with the rest of the day.
Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control.
Right, it's now the next day, so no, it's 2 days after I started filming, so it's Thursday today, and I'm in one trade. So I'm currently in pound dollar short. So pound dollar short, it just started to run, so I'm just going to manage that accordingly, and I'll keep you updated with how that plays out. So on the chart, it looks like so. So it's just started to play out. Limit order type entry. So I was triggered into the entry, and prices just started to run, so it's currently around about 1%. Stops could have been tighter, but my goal right now is just to focus on a little bit larger stops, and get more winners on the board instead of just trying to be greedy and start trying to trail things too tight, if you get me. So that's the focus for me. Starting to run, so if my eyes start going like that or like that, you know what I'm looking at. I'm just managing the trade as we go along. So I'm just waiting for certain points on the chart to see how price reacts from, and I'll go from there. I'm just gonna trail my stop actually just for a sec, just to reduce the risk. Not a break even yet, but I'm just reducing the risk to just over 0.5 of the entire position. So give me a sec. Boom. Okay. So as you can see, I've just trimmed my stop down just a little bit, just above the high, just to give it less room to breathe, because now we've had a reaction from the entry point, so I don't want to be too lenient with it, especially because price has moved away. So if price comes back up to my entry point, I'd rather just lock in profit above that high, lock in the trade above that high, because I'd rather not be in the trade anymore if price breaks above that previous swing. But regardless, so if you see my eyes are looking, you know what I'm looking at. But I tried to get slightly vulnerable for a second and just talk about my own trading journey, like thinking back to when I started 5 years ago, coming up 5 years. Like, what was my expectations coming to the market? Have those expectations been filled? And like, what's changed and how my thinking is different now? So, you know, when you come into the market, I remember coming into the market back end of 2016. So yeah, coming up 5 years now. And I was just so pumped. I was so buzzing. And I just, you know, I just feel like I've found something that I just fully enjoyed. I was very curious about the markets, and this is when I was playing. So for those of you who don't know my past, I was playing snooker full time before, and I just found trading whilst I was doing that, whilst I was fading out of that. I just felt like there was just so much passion I had for trading in charts, even more passion than I had for snooker, and I was playing for snooker for years. So I just felt like, yeah, I just felt super curious, and the curiosity is such an important aspect of trading, because you're always trying to learn new things, you're always trying to engross new information in a good, positive way. And I feel like curiosity in terms of a human trait is also a good thing as well. You know, you're just learning, you're thinking of new things, you're thinking of new ideas, you're just willing to learn, you're open to actually being teachable and learning. It's such a good trait. So when I found myself curious about trading, I knew I was passionate about it, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I just loved it, and I still love it to this day. I feel like the passion over time, especially as you get more advanced in technical aspect and in terms of psychological as well, like I just feel like I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else, to be honest. Like, yes, I want to do other things in the future, you know, I want to keep building YouTube up, and I want to do other businesses in the future as well, but like I have such a strong passion for trading, and I feel like I always have, and I feel like there's never been a point where I've been like, oh, you know, I'm gonna quit, or I feel like I don't have passion for trading. The passion's just grown throughout the entire 4 or 5 years I've been trading. So pretty grateful for that, pretty grateful that I found something that I truly enjoy and truly love as well. And it's just something that I can spend multiple time on per day. I'm not in a stage where I'm, you know, heavily backtesting anymore or things like that, but even if I was, I felt like I could just still spend hours upon hours upon hours on the market seat straight trying to learn. For me right now, I'm just live trading, and I'm also tracking my own performance. Backtesting a little bit on the weekends just to kind of warm up for the week, but apart from that, I'm just making sure that I live trade, I take the trades, I track my performance, I keep on top of the trades, and just create more balance within my trading and with my life as well to get that optimal peak performance. But yeah, I just love the markets. But coming into the markets, back to the main point, I think my expectations were that, well, clearly my expectations were very far off what I actually experienced, because I remember after trying to dig it out at some point, and I didn't start with a lot of money, I started with like 2k, but this was like hard-earned savings that I'd built up from my 9 to 5, and so what I've done with my savings as well is that when income comes in, so let's say I have a main account, my income comes into one account, then it's separated into multiple different accounts for things like necessities. Necessities play like a cash buffer, and just different long-term spending in education, investments, like different things it's separated into. So like that 2k was part of my, was it part of? I don't think it was investment because that's separate. I think it was long-term spending or something, but I built it up over the course of 18 months. I wasn't on the best wage at the time anyway, so that was like a lot of risk to me, but I just knew that I just wanted to put it in the markets and obviously start trading and gain experience, and I was happy to do that. I was only 19, 20 at the time, so I was more than happy to take the risk and take the leap. It's completely different if you have, you know, I just understood at the time that I'm, you know, 19, 20, I have nothing really to risk in terms of what other people can risk. Like I could have been, you know, 40, 50, 60 years old with kids and mortgage, then we'd talk about pressure. So you know, I think I went through a lot of different things, but then if you spoke to someone who was 30, 40, 50 years old, who actually had a mortgage and kids and trying to learn trading and supporting themselves, completely different ball game. So it's a little bit of perspective as well. But I think my expectation coming to the markets, I'll try and find the spreadsheet over the coming weeks and months. I was tracking everything, so I had 2k as my starting balance within that spreadsheet, and I thought, cool, started to learn basics of trading, start to learn, you go through that period of thinking, I can do this, like I can easily do this. So I was looking to make, I can't remember what it is, like 20 pips a week or something, and I started to add up the balances, and you start to get into this mindset of like seeing the balances go up and up and up and up. You're not obviously factoring in the learning period or anything else. And I just remember being almost infatuated with the results and the success even that early, and that was my first few months. I think it was even earlier than that. I think it was my first few weeks. I remember being sat on my 9 to 5, and I finished all my work, and whenever I finished all my work, I'd just kind of like crack on my own stuff almost, if I could. If I couldn't, then it is what it is, but if I could almost, you know, if I could finish my work early and then do a couple things on the side for myself, then I saw that as a positive thing. So I was doing that a little bit, and give me a sec, let me just lock in my live trading for you. Give me a sec. I'm just going to bring my stop down just a little bit more now. I've only got a little bit of risk on the table right now, nothing much. I'll show you where price is. Sweet. So I've just locked in, as you can see, the entry's obviously the low one, the stop is just right above, so give it less room to breathe, just going to keep managing it. This is how I manage most trades, to be honest. Just paying attention to price and seeing what price action is actually showing me versus putting my own expectations in the market of, yeah, at this profit I'm going to move to break even, or at this profit I'm going to do this. It's more so based on how the market is actually performing, what price action is telling me, and I think that's a skill in itself. Anyways, back to the point. Clearly by the spreadsheet I had in work and the stuff I was doing back then, I had a clear expectation that, you know, I was going to make it within 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and I just had such high expectations for it. I expected to turn tape. I'm going to be honest, I think I was in a bit of a dream world back then, looking back now, but I think you're just infatuated with the markets and what it can do with you. As soon as you start getting into the whole passive income, you start thinking about all the different side incomes you can learn on the side, because I was pondering with, obviously there was a lot back then, there was trading, you know, stocks, there's Amazon FBA, e-commerce, there's just so many different markets, and I obviously found a passion with trading, but it's like a new thing, it's like a new experience, and I had no idea that it even existed before. I obviously did, but I didn't know to what extent. So I had no expectations, I was building my own expectations almost, and I was a little bit infatuated with it. And yeah, it definitely hasn't turned out to my expectations. It was a lot harder than what I thought. It took me a lot longer to build up everything, to be honest. I was trying to describe it to someone close to me the other day. I was like, imagine, the thing is with trading, the thing is with starting your own business, or the thing is with anything similar to that, even sports. It was the same for me in snooker as well. Imagine learning for something, obviously you're not getting paid for it in the beginning. How do you put this? Imagine learning how to trade, right? I had another source of income because I was working a 9 to 5, and then I had a part-time job, so there's a little bit of pressure off from that, but my own pressure plus family pressure plus friends pressure plus the pressure from myself just to be different from other people, not do the same path. A lot of it was self-inflicted pressure, to be honest, but imagine having the pressure of not getting paid from the skill you're putting so much time and effort into for a long time. And imagine pressure from family as well, seeing not really anything to show from it from a year or two, and just even 3 to be honest. Even just people coming up to you and being like, oh, so how's that trading thing? How's trading going? You know, and if you really have nothing to really show for it back then, it's all based on your vision and your belief and your work ethic and all these little things, but it really doesn't mean too much back then. It's just, you have to almost like, I don't say sell yourself on the skill, but just have to hold the belief so high for yourself that you're going to make it in the long run, and not let these little things from other short-term distractions or other people set you off. Because the truth is, like, I'm just talking to you as if I'm talking to like one person. So the truth is, it's going to take a lot longer than what you thought. Some people, don't get me wrong, can break through a lot earlier. Someone could be consistent or break through within a year or two, for sure. Some people could pick it up really quickly. But what I'm saying is, for the vast majority of people, is that we have to understand that hardly anyone makes it in this industry anyway. So that's a factor. I don't want to set you off and be like, trading is not for me. Trading is such a fascinating game, and I honestly love most aspects to it, if not every aspect to it, because it's just made me who I am today. But you have to realize how hard it is and how few people actually make it. And obviously it's debatable whether the actual percentages of 90, I think it's 95 people who start out in the markets are failures, but you have to also bring into that, okay, well, how many people actually are giving it their all as well? So you have to actually factor that in. So is there any true measure of knowing how many people actually make it? But at the same time, I still think it's a very few number of people, and it's a very, very difficult thing. So we have to actually factor that in. But back onto the point, it's hard when I'm trying to focus on this and I'm watching the trade as well. But back to what I was saying, it's a very, very tough thing. Is put it this way, trading has required all of my focus, all of my energy. I've had to sacrifice things most people wouldn't sacrifice, and I do appreciate that I'm young still and I don't have as much to sacrifice as maybe older people. So if you had a family, if you had a mortgage, if you had, you know, it's a different ball game, especially when you're that age. But for my age and what I had to go through, I went through a lot, and I feel like I sacrificed a lot to get to this point where I am now. And I you know, still got, I don't say, yeah, you're always going to have stuff to improve on and learn from and stuff, but I feel like if you'd have told me, like, when I first started that, how do you put this? I'm going to be vulnerable and say I would have thought I would have been further ahead than what I am today in the beginning, but at the same time, skill-wise, I feel like I'm a lot further ahead. I just feel like there's certain aspects that I felt like I would have been further ahead in, if that makes sense. But that was just my expectation. That's what expectation I built for myself. That's what expectation other people put on me, and a lot of that expectation is honestly hype and people trying to sell stuff, and have to be aware of all these different things in trading. But yeah, the truth is that it's been very, very difficult. But I've also enjoyed every different aspect of it. You know, learning to grow as a person. The struggles that have come with it have built me up into just a person that I'm proud to become and becoming as well. And I just feel super grateful for the path this has taken me on, and I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else, to be honest. So yeah, is everything perfect? Nope. Do I still take losses? Yeah. Took 2 losses on Tuesday. I'm obviously in 1 win now, so that's playing out particularly well. So it's starting to drop as we are talking, which is why my eyes are kind of moving. But yeah, still take losses. You can't eradicate all losses. You can get better with time for sure, but depending on what style you trade, losses are always going to be there. And I feel like obviously I'm just going off the top of my head here, so apologise if the conversation is going from left to right, but like, even with styles, yes, I believe there's obviously certain styles that do very, very well, and they're very different from other styles, and there's certain styles that would be a lot more profitable than other styles. But I do believe most styles out there you can make successful if you learn the fundamentals, keep your risk small, learn from people who are actually doing it. What other thing would I say? I think most styles you can make work well for you, especially if you know how to tailor it to you. You might have to tweak a few little things here, just a little few things, to be honest. But I feel like you can do that. But it's just finding what works for you. I think that's the most important thing. If you're trading a style that is not fully right for you, then maybe just tweaking a few things, or deciding that in the past. So I feel like I'm at a point now where I won't be changing my trading style. Will I be adapting with the market? Of course, little subtle differences, but I definitely won't be changing my trading style. I feel like I'm content with how I'm trading. I feel content with how I'm learning, how I'm reading price, how I'm reading the markets, how I'm reading the intentions of price as well, and I feel content. So, but I'm not satisfied, because I know that I'm always going to be improving, getting better, learning from my own mistakes, learning from my own wins as well. Learning from your wins and your losses is important, and just overall just learning in the right direction. But anyways, back to what I wanted to show you as well. So on the whiteboard behind me, I've been focused on tracking some data over the last 3 months, so I've been spending a lot of time on this recently. So let's take a look at this, hopefully you can see. But basically, what I figured out from going over the past 3 months of trades taken is that, there's a lot of different things. My strike rate is not the best, obviously, but I know that I'm improving and I'm going in the right direction. So what I figured out was, especially with this, so this is basically in alignment with the direction of the market. So higher time frame structure almost. This is not in alignment. So this is trades taken when it's not in alignment with that. So what I noticed with this, obviously, is my strike rate is a lot higher. Has been over the past 3 months. October is not finished yet at the time of this filming, so it's probably going to edge up just a little bit than that. But overall, my average strike rate over the past 3 months has been 52.3, which is it's not excellent, but it's not bad either. Like, you can do very well on this sort of strike rate. You can do very well on 40% strike rate. So it's not the full focus of my attention, but I can't lie, like I do focus on strike rate quite a lot to try and get that win to loss ratio quite consistent, which is what I've been focused on. But what I noticed is that obviously with this, it's still fairly decent. With this, as you can see, it's a lot lower. So I noticed that I'm gonna be definitely minimizing the amount of trades that I'm taking, that go against higher time frame structure, because it's not worth it for me based on the past 3 months of data. Does that mean I'm gonna abolish it altogether? No, because I know that this is an area that I can improve on and definitely tweak and refine. But my focus should be here. So 80-20 rule, I'm definitely gonna be focused on here. Now going through the entries a little bit, I've got 3 entries. So I did used to have a lot more, but I just wanted to focus on a few of the most profitable entries that were doing very well for me and just get rid of the baggage. So that's what I did probably 3 months ago, and I've been focused on these 3 ever since. And even here, like I may have to filter this out maybe in 2-3 months time. This may no longer be here, but for now it is, and for now it's still profitable. So with this, got 3 entries. As you can see, over the past 3 months, 44.44 strike rate, 60% on entry 2, and 37.5 on the third one as well. So overall, like a good average. Obviously this is a lot lower. This can be refined because a few of this is obviously my own kind of unforced errors as well. But overall, happy with that. And then in terms of the pairs, I've got Euro dollar, 50% strike rate, pound dollar, 50%. Aussie dollar is a little bit lower, but this is also understandable because this is the newest pair I've added in. So this could be a factor of the pair behavior itself, but also my knowledge with the pair behavior and the fact that it's quite new comparative to these two, which has been here a lot longer. So just wanted to give you a quick insight into that. That's what I've been focused on, because that's going to be how I tailor my focus going forward within my trading. Really doubling down on trading with the higher time frames now and getting rid of, I won't say getting rid of, just minimizing anything that goes against that for now and just doubling down on what's actually working. So you have to be able to do this in your trading as well. I feel like this is like such a skill in itself, being able to understand what's working for you, what's not working, cut the baggage, double down at what's actually working, and just go from there really. So that's what I'm going to be doing going forward. But yeah, that's a little bit of an insight on the data basically that I've collected over the past 3 months. It does go in a lot more detail, but that's like the main core fundamental lessons that I've taken away. But yeah, if I had like a lesson that you can apply coming into the markets, or anything else that I would say to someone who has been in the markets less time, I would just literally say, like, hold yourself accountable, have high expectations of yourself and what you can do, but don't hold too many high expectations of how long it's going to take you to become a trader, how long it's going to take you to do this, do that, do this. Because what you'll find is that, and I do this sometimes, if I don't reach a target by a certain amount, let's say it's a trading target, it's very easy for me to beat myself up. So just make sure that, like, have targets and stuff, but track your progression above everything else. That's the most important thing. Because if you do have targets, and I don't believe percentage targets are a good thing personally within a trading journey, unless you have a style that is very accustomed to that and works very well with that. But for me, in my experience, that doesn't really work too well. But everyone's different, of course. That's just my perspective. That's just my opinion based on what I've learned so far. But yeah, hold high expectations for yourself, but don't hold too many expectations of the market, especially when you're trading and taking individual trades. Like, you should be going into each trade and thinking, this looks really good, this should be a winner. Like, you shouldn't hold that mindset. You got to approach trading with the mindset of probabilities. It's like a casino. No matter how far you develop, no matter how much skill you have, I don't think you can lose track of the probabilistic mindset, because it's very easy. I feel like it's a trap I've fallen into in the past, of believing as you develop, or as let's say you're trading a style that has a higher strike rate, or has the potential to have a higher strike rate. It's very easy to lose that probabilistic state of mind almost, and just think that, cool, yeah, I can eradicate a lot of losses, which you can. Don't get me wrong, especially as you develop, but I think it's still important to have that probabilistic state of mind, especially when you hear traders who've been in the game for 10, 15 years still holding that, such as like Mark Douglas and a lot of other great traders that still trade with that same mindset. So it's important to obviously listen to people who are doing it for the long term as well. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. Hope you enjoyed that. The trade is pulling back a little bit more now. So the trade is pulling back a little bit more, but with I partialed at 3-1. If I get taken out, then it's a small win. It's a good day overall. And if this drops further, then perfect as well. I was just seeing how price reacted from a certain area. Price is rejected. It's just whether price continues to the upside. Now, if price continues to the upside, I don't want to be in the trade. I'm happy to get out at the price I'm getting out at. But if price starts moving lower from here, then know that it was just a reaction from that level, that area, and then we could see a lot lower prices. So we're going to see. Higher time frames are more so bearish, especially short term on pound dollar. Like, I'm looking at bearish structure short term. So I'm just going to see whether that plays out. But if not, we move on to the next trade. We don't hold too much judgment based on the individual trades, and on to the next one. So I'm going to end this here, but hope you enjoyed this little talk. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and it's just important, these things just to hold in mind. I think obviously me being in the game 5 years now, I think I can offer obviously a lot of value in that sort of area, because I can share that. I can share like what I've been through and the thoughts that I had when I started, and what I'm going through now, and how I approach the market in a different aspect now, and how I think about everything different comparative to when I first started out as a newbie, getting sucked into the little hypes on social media and all this stuff about trading. I was pretty smart back then, but I still got sucked in a little bit to the expectation, the infatuation of results, and the infatuation of how quickly things can happen. But you live and you learn, and you move forward either way. So I'm going to wrap this up now. I've got other things to do and crack on with, and I'm going to hit the gym soon as well, after I've managed this trade accordingly. But speak to you all soon, and see you in the next one.